Hey guys, this is Avery Meinson with MT Outdoors, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a rustic wall hanger plaque out of barnwood for your deer and elk European mounts. Everything it takes to make them is super cheap, or you can find it just laying around the house, so stay tuned. So the most important thing, and the first thing that you're going to want to do is get your piece of barnwood. Depending on whether you're doing an elk or a deer, or the size of the elk or deer, you're going to want to fit your piece of barnwood accordingly. I actually just took this from a bigger piece of barnwood and broke it down. I think that'll look pretty good. We're doing a mule deer today, so I think we got the right piece for that. After you got your piece of barnwood and you have it fitted accordingly, you know it's going to work and be the right size. The second step you're going to do is sand down the surface where the deer skull or elk skull will be set on. So that's the next step. Alright, so now that you got the sanding done, it doesn't have to be perfect, just get it nice and smooth for the most part. We're ready to move on to step 3. Alright, so moving on to the third step here. It's not mandatory, you don't have to do it, but it definitely gives it kind of a cool burnt barnwood look, is getting yourself a little torch like this and going over the surface that the skull will be hanging on and touching it up. Alright, so we just got done burning it. In my opinion, it definitely looks cooler after taking the torch to it. So now we're moving on to step 4. Alright, so after we got done burning it, the final preparations to the wood that we're going to take is going over with a layer of stain. This is what I'm using, but honestly it really doesn't matter. You can use any kind of wood stain, and it'll just kind of help accent the burnt look. So when you're putting this last coat of stain on, I like to put it darker in some areas. Just kind of accents where you've already burnt it with the torch. It gives a cool kind of finished look. Alright, so there's what our piece of barnwood looks like going onto the wall. And a common question I get is, what do I do? Like if I've got a fresh cut, this end was already cut a long time ago, so it's weathered. But this end with that fresh cut, people ask me what I do, and I know there's some products out there that you can get to help it gray and match this color. But honestly, all I do is just take the torch to it and darken it up. So moving on to actually mounting the skull to the piece of barnwood, I like to give it a little bit of an offset look like this, so it's actually protruding from the wood. What I use to do that is I pick up these little corner braces. That's what the package looks like here. They're the 1.5 inches. That's what they actually look like. They're super cheap. They're like $5 for a pack of 4 of them. So I'm going to mount this to the wood. Before you start drilling holes and putting it in the plaque, you're going to want to get it situated and actually figure out where you're going to want your skull in the first place. So we already did that. I actually have a pilot hole drilled already. So make sure you get it nice and straight. Perfect. So that's what it's going to look like for now. Alright, so once you got your bracket mounted onto the barnwood, the next step you're going to do is get your pair of pliers. You're just going to bend it, because this little piece right here is going to be what the skull is hanging from. So to give it that angle hanging off the barnwood, you're just going to bend that a little bit of an angle, and judging on how much you want it sticking out from the wood, that's how much you'll bend it. So about like that, and the skull will hang right from there. So got our skull. Just like that. Alrighty, so other than actually hanging it up, this is what the final product will look like. Pretty cool in my opinion. I like the barnwood look. You can always incorporate more or even less. You don't have to do the burnt or stained look. But also, on this other one I'm in the middle of working on, I'm adding a little bit of barbed wire to it, so that's always an option. So for the most part, this is what the final product will be. And this is just something I kind of did on my own. I didn't steal this idea from anyone else on YouTube. I just kind of wanted to display my own skulls a different way. So I thought of this and wanted to share it with you guys. I hope you enjoyed.